Hello, you absolute legends. Speedrunning has always played a vital role in the development of the Hogs of War community, and it may surprise you to learn that the speedrunning section of said community is actually the place where everything originally started. The Hogs community Discord server was once a quiet place where just a few active runners would come to discuss tactics and strategies before then diving into their runs, many of whom you will of course recognise in the community today. Dating back only 4 years, Hogs of War speedrunning has seen a recent resurgence over the past year and a half thanks to the ever-growing community and players who are looking to get their name up there on the leaderboard. While several categories of speedrunning already exist, perhaps the most well-known Hog speedrun is the any percent no glitches run, whereby players simply have to complete the single-player campaign as quickly as possible without using any game glitches or cheats along the way. This category is split between normal and hard mode, however today we'll be focusing on the more popular normal mode runs. Regardless of difficulty, a full playthrough requires pure accuracy, precision, endurance, and sometimes luck while traversing through the grueling 25 missions in the single player campaign. So, sit back and relax as we explore the history of Hogs of War's most popular speedrun. Now legends, the first thing to note before we get started is today's sponsor of this video, Cheap Host UK. If you're looking for an affordable online domain or web hosting for your site, then look no further. Cheap Hosting UK boasts the cheapest prices compared to any other online competitor. Starting as low as $6.99 for an entire year, you won't want to miss out on those affordable, friendly prices. And as an added bonus, don't forget you can use the discount code Pinstripe at checkout to get yourself 10% off your total order. A big thank you once again to Cheap Host UK for sponsoring today's video. Now, one key nugget of information to remember when looking at the history of Hogs of War speedrunning is how a run is deemed valid. Many of you will remember during my Bootcamp Speedrun Saga video, I mentioned how a lot of the runs, including my own, had to be retimed due to internal changes made by the community. The same changes were made with the any percent glitchless category, with the old rules of starting a run after selecting one player on the main menu, or no when prompted to play the bootcamp mission, was being swapped out for all runs to start as soon as the pigs parachute into mission 1. I'm mentioning this now as I'll be referring to all the new official retimed records rather than the original times that are displayed on a lot of the video sources for the runs shown in this video. With that said, let's go back almost 3.5 years to where it all began, the 26th of July 2018, where we see the very first recorded run for this category. Submitted by the Kiwi streamer Stannis 0, this first run saw a large final time of 4 hours, 12 minutes and 19 seconds. Though it may not seem that impressive, this first run did highlight some areas that are still followed by some runners today, including the use of the small island jump between both sides of the map on mission 2, and using the cluster grenade to take out the gunner early on mission 3, while also using sappers to clear out the rest of the grunts. Despite the fairly casual approach to this first run, Stannis knew the game, he understood the mechanics of Hogs and how to utilise the most out of all of the weapons, in particular the engineer class. However, this first record would only stand for just over a week, as a new player would proceed to take up the challenge of producing a new world record. On the 4th of August 2018, Shweo007 would storm to the front and take the record down to 3 hours, 58 minutes and 47 seconds, the first sub 4 hour run this category had ever seen. Unfortunately, none of the video footage for Shweo007's earlier runs exist anymore, but over the course of the next 3 weeks, he would improve on his previous time and take the record down by a further 28 minutes, posting a 3 hour, 28 minute run on the 12th of August and a 3 hour, 26 minute run a week later on the 19th of that same month. Stannis, though, was not going to sit by quietly. He continued to press through the campaign, posting further improvements on his old time with a 3 hours 19 minute run on the 8th of August 2018, and even though he was using the US version of the game, which was known at the time within the community to run slower than the EU version, Stannis was still producing new world records. Despite his success, another newcomer to the any percent category had already made his mark on the world record, as a day earlier on the 7th of August, Crumble had posted a new world record of 3 hours, 16 minutes and 52 seconds before lowering it again 2 days later by a further 12 minutes. The record now stood at 3 hours, 2 minutes and 1 second, and Crumble would continue to push that as far as he could, posting the very first sub 3 hour run on the 11th of August, followed by further advances 4 days later on the 15th of August. Within the space of just a week, the record had gone from 3 hours 16 minutes all the way down to 2 hours 48. Stannis did try to hit back, but could only manage an earlier personal best with a 3 hours 3 minute run on the 12th of August. He would then improve on his overall strategy going into the next run, with one instance actually managing to produce a successful mine jump in mission 6. Crumble's early strategy was fairly different, usually starting off each mission with a spy to get some quick damage, before then following up with engineer class picks. His run on mission 7 relied too heavily on espionage picks to deal damage though, and this was carried over into a lot of his later missions. And so barely a day later on the 16th of August 2018, knowing that to remain in the running for the record he'd have to produce his first sub 3 hour run, Stanislaw did this.
He's on the ground, hell yeah. That's even better. $241.42. Hell yeah. That feels good, man. That feels really good.
A 2 hour, 41 minute and 38 second run. A new world record. By the time Stannis had finished Hogshead, he was well on pace to beating the record. He continued his good form into Australia, producing another successful mine jump on mission 6 and using a spy on mission 7 to take out the enemy gunner with one of the super TNTs. However, he did have a bizarre turn of events on mission 8 when this happened.
Okay. What? What? Explain that to me. What? Explain that shit to me. Explain how that missed him. What the fuck? Like, actually, I don't understand that. That's bullshit, dude. That's... what?
Despite that strange setback, he managed to take out all the enemies on mission 9 before the reinforcements arrived, but lost valuable amounts of time on mission 10, with minor mistakes being made when attempting to destroy the artilleries. His time on Trottsville started slowly on mission 11, but he made quick work of mission 12 through 15. Then Beliopolis started strong on mission 16, time was lost a little bit on 17 and 18, but Stannis was flying through the campaign. Even if he didn't produce a new world record, he was on course for a new PB. However, Austria was to prove a real challenge, with the commandos on mission 21 costing a lot of time by them walking around the map, followed by a loss of 2 of his own pigs on mission 22. The cracks were definitely beginning to form. Nevertheless, despite low health heroes not dying on mission 23 and the last remaining pyrotechnic taking up a lot of valuable time on mission 24, Stanislaw had done it. His hard work had paid off and the record was his. That is, until a new foe returned from the grave. Shweo007 was back. On the 23rd of August 2018, he posted a new world record of 2 hours, 40 minutes and 5 seconds, beating Stanislaw's time by a mere minute and a half. This was yet another run of Shweo's that no longer remains as a video source, but when you consider his previous submitted runs, were just under an hour longer than this new record, he'd been making heavy improvements during that time. Despite the return of Shuyo, there was to be a new challenger that would make his mark on the any percent category several days before Shuyo's new record even appeared on the leaderboard. The Austrian speedrunner, Caster, who posted his first run on the 18th of August 2018, a time of 2 hours, 37 minutes and 20 seconds. It may have beaten Shuyo's record, but it wasn't a new world record, because one day previous, on the 17th of August, Crumble had returned from the shadows to post a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 46 seconds, smashing Caster's record by yet again 12 minutes. His run was pretty smooth. It took him just 22 minutes to complete the first island on Hogs, and by the time he reached the final island on Austria, he was well on course for the record. However, Crumble's overall strategies remained near enough the same as before. He relied heavily on engineer and espionage classes to do most of the work, and ultimately what ended up giving him the edge was the fact that this run was just a lot cleaner than his previous records. And in many ways, the lack of any new strategies was reflected in the new records that would come rolling in over the course of the next 2 weeks. Between the 19th of August and the 11th of September 2018, the world record would be held and lost by just 3 runners: Caster, Shuyo and Crumble. In fact, within the month of August 2018 alone, the world record had changed hands 17 times between 4 different runners. Caster would edge out Crumble's run with a new world record time of 2 hours, 24 minutes and 24 seconds before Crumble then took it back again on the same day with a new record time of 2 hours, 20 minutes and 6 seconds. Now, Caster succeeded in bringing the record down again to 2 hours, 17 minutes and 34 seconds 3 days later on the 22nd of August, but then Shuyo also threw his hat in the ring once again on the 31st of the same month, but he did fall short of the record with a 2 hours, 22 minute run. A new PB for Shuyo, so some positives there. He would then go on to drastically improve on this, however, posting a 2 hour, 17 minutes and 47 second run on the 11th of September, falling just 13 seconds short of the world record. Still in amongst it though was Stannis 0, who hadn't given up and who several days before Shuyo's record had come out had managed to come roaring back, where he managed this run.
Let's do this and... .217 on the dot. That's a 217, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Stanislaw had managed to beat Caster's record by just short of a minute on the 26th of August, but as we've seen time after time in this category of hog speedrunning, it was actually a few days earlier on the 21st of August that a new world record had been set, and this time it was by Crumble. A time of 2 hours, 13 minutes and 27 seconds. This run would essentially kill off half of the original runners that originally took part in this speedrun at the beginning of the year, as those final times of 2 hours 17 for Shuyo and 2 hours 16 for Stanislaw would be the last they would submit within this category. The world record time had once again been cut down by another 7 minutes since Crumble's last run, saving much needed time through PB gold splits on mission 2, 4, 6, 12, 20 and 22. Crumble was able to save huge amounts of time in all but one mission, Mission 5. A lack of TNT had costed him when it came to dealing damage to the last remaining gunner, while a lack of range with his sapper required him to run all the way up to the final scout in order to take him out and then finish the mission. It cost him 33 seconds, so there was still plenty of time to be knocked off the world record, but as you'll see, this is where the early competition and humble beginnings of this category between runners appears to stop. This is where it becomes The Caster Show. Merely 3 days after Crumble's 2-hour 13-minute record, Caster would return on the 24th of August with a 2-hour 12-minute and 14-second new world record before taking it down even further to 2 hours, 7 minutes and 31 seconds 5 days later on the 29th of August. Sadly, all of Caster's older runs no longer have video sources, but regardless, one thing was clear. He wanted to produce the very first sub 2 hour run in the any % glitchless category. With no further competition being shown from any of the other runners, the next month would give Caster some breathing space as he spent his time studying every mission, enemy and angle he could in order to cut down the run and save as much time as possible. And before we go any further in this story, we have to take a look back at all of the previous records in order to understand Caster's mindset and how he was going to achieve this. Now, early Hogs speedruns can be summarized as simply playing the game and trying to finish it as quickly as possible. Strategies such as wall climbs had only recently been discovered by the speedrunner Top Hat Toff, and they were briefly used by some of the runners on the likes of Mission 10, but they weren't really seen or utilized anywhere else. The ranks of pigs used were also quite unorthodox when compared to today, in some instances with medics being used in order to keep pigs alive. In essence, there were multiple areas that could be focused on in order to lower the world record time. The month of August 2018 became a melting pot for ideas and tactics that each runner tried to incorporate, but up until this point, in near enough all of the previous runs, regardless of the overall record, the players involved, the one key strategy that was missing, which would change everything, was body blocking. Nowadays, this term is used throughout the competitive multiplayer scene for Hogs of War, but back then, runs never fully utilized this against the AI. Body blocking against the AI basically involves positioning your pig as close to that enemy as possible, and in doing so, it will usually result in the enemy pig remaining where they are and shooting your pig instead. AI pigs will usually begin prioritizing pigs that are closest to them, so it was a no-brainer to begin using this strategy. It was a huge tactic that can ultimately paralyze the AI pigs and keep them from running around the map, and in the long run save a massive amount of time. So on the 22nd of September 2018, after almost a month of strategizing, planning and testing, Caster produced his latest run, and it was incredible. He brought with it the strategies that hadn't really been seen before, at least not consistently. On near enough every single mission, the art of body blocking the AI was perfected. On the very first mission, he blocked the closest enemy pig to him while prioritizing the enemy pigs that were furthest away, while on mission 2 his TNT on the enemy gunner saw him blast the pig towards the water while at the same time moving as close to where that pig was going to land in order to then maintain the body block. He continued this into mission 3 along with almost completing mission 4 in just 4 turns. Now Caster would end up completing the first island in near enough 20 minutes flat before storming through Australasia in the same amount of time. He produced a gold split on mission 6, while on mission 7 his first turn saw the usual collection of the super TNT, but this time his placement was between the enemy scout and orderly. Now by the time mission 9 had rolled around, Caster was leading the charge with 2 saboteurs, an engineer and 2 bombardiers. He became the first Hog speedrunner to successfully complete mission 9 in just 2 turns, managing a triple kill with the airstrike after a quick TNT use with one of his saboteurs. He rounded off the island of Australia with the use of the wall climb on mission 10 to get early access to the artilleries, before then finishing off the remaining scout with the super shotgun at the end of the mission with another gold split. Transfill started with some heavy super shotgun usage once again, followed by 5 kills in just 2 turns on mission 12. Further gold splits on mission 15, 17, 18, 20 and 21 saw him well on course to obtain a sub 2 hour record. Going into mission 22, and Caster's main strategy was to use the flamethrower from one of his heavy weapons pigs in order to remove the enemy hero from the shelter as quickly as possible, a problem that had plagued many speedrunners previously. On mission 23, he wasted no time in airstriking the enemy heroes in combination with some clever positioning to maintain some kind of body blocking, which in turn rewarded him with a 9-minute gold split. So going into the second to last mission, Caster had just over 8 minutes to achieve a sub 2-hour run. After 2 decent airstrikes, only 3 pigs remained. Initially it didn't seem that bad, but after eventually completing mission 24, he had just 3 minutes to complete the final mission. And when he got to the final mission, this is what happened.
That's enough. No! Yes! How? I don't care! Under 2 hours! Woo! Lucky on the last level, but it's done. It's done.
He had done it, posting the first ever sub 2-hour run with a final time of 1 hour, 57 minutes and 58 seconds. Caster's run had completely changed the speedrunning landscape for Hogs of War. His tactics and strategies had altered the thinking of the speedrunning community and would ultimately lay the foundations for future speedrunners to build from. If a sub 2-hour run was possible, then how much further could the record be lowered? Well, for the next 3 years, this world record would remain at the top, untouched, unbeaten. That is, until the year of 2021. ADB 95. He's a meticulous newcomer to the speedrunning scene, but one who rose to prominence within the community after spearheading a new type of approach to the any percent glitchless category. The very first season of the Hogs of War League in 2020 saw ADB finish as runner-up, but it was here that he would hone his skill of body grouping. What is body grouping, I hear you ask? Well, it's a term that I just made up to describe when players are successfully able to push enemy pigs together in order to then inflict large amounts of damage on multiple targets. In the single player campaign, this can be done in multiple ways on multiple missions, and after a 3-year hiatus of being on the top, ADB set his sights on bringing down Caster's record. Now, the world record at the time did have its faults despite changing the speedrunning meta. In the eyes of ADB, Caster had lost a considerable amount of time in his runs and there was plenty of room for improvement. And so, on New Year's Day 2021, ADB embarked on a run that would once again completely change Hogs of War speedrunning forever. Things started in a pretty similar fashion to Caster's run 3 years prior. A quick use of the body block on the first mission followed by a quick 2-turn mission 2. ADB also managed to incorporate a new cliffside jump within mission 2, which helped shave off those vital few seconds when targeting the enemy pig on top of the hill. He continued this good run of form throughout Hogshead, grouping enemies together on both missions 4 and 5 to produce huge amounts of damage on the enemy. He managed to complete mission 4 in just 3 turns, something that Caster had hoped to do back in 2018. Now on mission 5, ADB proceeded to finish things off with a triple group kill on the remaining orderly and 2 gunners, eventually completing Hogshead in just 17 minutes and 48 seconds. This was the first ever record of a sub 20-minute finish of the first island in the any percent glitches category, and it would provide ADB with a huge platform to build on going into the remainder of the run. His first turn on mission 6 saw him shoot into the mines in order to clear a path through, allowing him once again to group together the enemies of the bombardiers on top of the cliff and produce a double kill on his second turn. Mission 7 saw the same incorporation of the Super TNT onto the enemy scout and orderly combo, but we also got to see the very first use of the pillbox head jump strategy. By placing one of his pigs next to the pillbox, ADB was able to execute the jump onto the head of his own pig, which in turn allowed himself to be boosted, which is what he then needed to get on top of the pillbox to then TNT the enemy grunt, which ultimately allowed him to finish the mission with a quick double kill after his first mine placement on the other low health grunt. Mission 9 was also completed cleanly in 2 turns using the same TNT and airstrike combo developed by Caster. Further body grouping damage allowed for the completion of mission 12, with ADB gaining gold splits on additional missions 13, 14 and 19. ADB was using a heavy engineering lineup made up of 4 engineer class pigs and just 1 heavy weapons. Missions 18 and 19 saw heavy usage of the super shotgun, which helped produce further gold splits on both missions 19 and 20 as well. Now going into the final island, ADB had 13 minutes to complete mission 21. However, this is where things almost fell apart. A failed cluster grenade shot on an enemy commando meant he would then finish the mission just 4.5 minutes ahead. He was still on course for a new world record, but you could tell that the nerves were beginning to show. Going into mission 22, an ADB once again pulled out a new method of dealing quick damage. His first turn saw a combination of mines and shrapnel in order to remove the enemy from the shelter and deal that little bit more damage compared to the singular usage of the flamethrower. Clever play here meant he was able to take down the enemy hero within the first 3 turns, but it seemed the RNG gods weren't on his side at that time, as the enemy gunners were just stubbornly remaining inside the artilleries for just a little bit too long. Despite the frustration, the mission was finished as a gold split, remaining 6 minutes ahead of Caster's record. When he started mission 23, ADB had just 15 minutes to finish the last 3 missions, and once again, a stubborn AI enemy took his time when hiding inside one of the shelters, but ADB pressed on, producing another gold split time for mission 23. Mission 24 started with 2 strong airstrikes, but with 1 leftover pyrotechnic on 61 health and a failed airburst to finish him off, it wasn't as clean as it could have been. Yet after 1 final gold split going into the final mission, with what was surely going to be the final shot of the run, this happened.
There comes the first mistake. That is very risky. Oh, that's good. Okay, can you please kill this guy? Oh my... I don't know how this is happening.
2 failed attempts to finish the run had cost ADB a huge amount of time. You've got to remember as well that Izzy must be killed within the first 2 turns in order to complete mission 25 and avoid the legend's arrival. And sadly for ADB, those mistakes ended up costing him almost 3 minutes. But nevertheless, after 2 resets, the end was in sight.
Come on, man! Die! Well, you got the world record. Am I happy about it? Yes, but not completely. Mission 24 and 25 have been quite frustrating. But I'm pretty sure Castor's going to beat this one again. And if he does, I guess I'll try to do it.
Three and a half years after his first submitted run, Castor was back and ready to take his speedrunning crown. He'd watched, learnt, and eventually implemented the strategies that ADB had come up with during his practice runs, but how could he then take things and raise the bar even higher? Well, on the 4th of February 2021, Castor began his next run for the world record. Things started very strongly as he managed to produce gold splits on the first 5 missions, eventually completing the island of Hogshead in just 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Alongside being a generally cleaner run, there was one major difference here between this run and ADB's world record time: class ranks. Up until this point, the idea of promoting your pigs was usually done across the board, whereby your entire team was equally promoted within their class as much as possible. By the end of Mission 5, ADB was using those extra promotion points to upgrade all of his sappers to engineers and his final grunt to a bombardier, but Castor, on the other hand, decided to go with a completely different approach. He prioritised one of his pigs to be upgraded after Mission 6 to a commando, leaving his other 4 pigs as sappers and a single grunt. Now, in doing so, he could then produce a much faster first turn and avoid any form of mine jump or mine clearing to gain access to the high ground, and then he could throw down the bombardiers and get those easy kills. This inclusion of the early commando strat would continue to change the entire speedrunning meta once again for the second island, which in turn was then carried through the rest of the campaign. The idea was simple but revolutionary. Gaining the early commando and later hero, dealing damage as early and quickly as you can, would then mean that the result was a huge amount of time saved. Castor ended up finishing his run with a new world record, 1 hour 47 minutes and 52 seconds, 10 minutes faster than what he had produced 3 years prior. However, he wasn't finished there, as just over a month later, on the 25th of March 2021, Castor produced another attempt at lowering his own record. Further gold splits on Hogshead saw him complete the first island in under 15 minutes, the first of its kind, with a time of 14 minutes 46 seconds. He continued with the faster pig rank up tactic, and it was working, because by the time he reached the end of Mission 18, he was a full 9 minutes ahead of his own time. He did lose a little bit of time on Mission 22 thanks to some stubborn AI once again, but by the time he had finished the second to last mission, he still had a 7-minute lead. His final time after being retimed was a 1 hour 40 minute and 35 second record. He'd managed to shave off yet another big chunk of time with this record, a whole 7 minutes. He'd come back and achieved what he set out to do, and in the space of just 3 months, the world record had been lowered by a full 17 minutes. But just as Castor had sat on the sidelines and taken notes when ADB had produced that world record before, there was another speedrunner waiting in the wings, ready to make his mark on this category. His name?
Candyman! 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 Candyman!
In early 2021, Candyman was seen as a newcomer to the Hogs speedrunning scene. He joined the community Discord on the 4th of January, where he quickly made a name for himself, as a few weeks after Castor's successful run in taking back the any percent glitchless category world record with that time of 1 hour 47, ADB proceeded to organise the very first Hogs of War Grand Prix. This was, and indeed still is, a speedrunning event where the best of the best go head to head against each other to complete a specific island within the campaign as quickly as possible. Aired live on the 21st of February 2021, while going up against the veterans of Castor and ADB, Candyman did this in the Hogshead Grand Prix live finals. And the Scout on 7, so has the Sapper, Scout and Gunner to take care of. But can Candyman finish it up here? This could be it. This could be the finishing time for Candyman. Will it be enough? No, the enemy gunner I don't think fell into the water. He got one, he got two. Did he get the other one? No, 4 health. And the Scout as well. His Sapper's facing the wrong way. He has to spin around. Can finish it with a shot here with the shotgun. No, he's missed the... Oh no! The shotgun shot just went right into the floor, into the water. And both players making big mistakes here. Big mistakes. He needs to hit this one. Doesn't want to angle it too far to the left as that will miss. And he does get the connection. So, Candyman finishing with a time of 18:29 is the final time. And as expected, that means that Candyman is the winner of the Hogshead Grand Prix. Having proved he could battle it out and win against the top 2 Hog speedrunners, Candyman soon turned his attention to the any percent glitchless run. Barely 2 days after Caster's new world record time of 1 hour 40 minutes, on the 27th of March 2021, Candyman kicked off his campaign. Up until this point, he had never actually completed a full speedrun of the entire single player campaign, and that could be seen across his first 6 missions with time lost across the board. But after his first gold split on mission 7, the rest of the missions just started falling like dominoes. Candyman was simply on another level. He'd followed the same setup as Caster, giving himself an early commando, and from there on, he simply dominated mission after mission. He was a machine, and by the end of mission 11 Saving Private Ryan, he was a full 5.5 minutes ahead of the record, and by the end of mission 13's Glacier Guns, that lead was extended by almost 12 minutes. Mission 12 had seen him utilise the airstrike to produce a triple kill, with the rest of the enemy pigs quickly being cleaned up shortly afterwards, followed by an insane 6-minute run on Glacier Guns. A clever pillbox jump in combination with cluster bomb damage meant he was able to remove the enemy gunners from the vehicles much sooner than anyone else had done before. By the time he'd hit the 1 hour mark, Candyman was early into mission 18, which put him almost 2 missions ahead of where Caster was at this point during his run. As I already mentioned, Candyman had never actually completed a full single player run, so everything after mission 15 was fresh territory, but he knew exactly what to do. Months of practicing behind the scenes had led up to this moment until it was finally his time to shine. Through testing, Candyman had worked out that the super shotgun could be used to push Izzy into an area of outer bounds that confuses the AI, resulting in an instant death explosion. In doing so, he had provided a much more efficient and more reliable method of completing the final mission. With the first ever sub 1 hour 40 minute run, Candyman had blown everybody away with a final time of 1 hour 33 minutes and 12 seconds. For a category that had been dominated by the likes of Caster for so long, for a fresh-faced recruit to come along and snatch the world record was simply unheard of. Not only had Candyman expanded on already existing strategies, he had brought his own toys to the party. He was ruthless in his execution of this run, sparing no expense along the way, but above all, he was now the fastest Hogs of War speedrunner in the world. And so this is where the world record sat, in the hands of Candyman. No one came close, well, that is for one runner, Candyman himself. 6 months after his newfound fame, on the 19th of September 2021, Candyman returned to the any percent glitchless category with the aim of perfecting his previous run. The margin for error was so minute that even the smallest infraction would cost him dearly. But once again his execution was flawless and he managed to stay ahead of his old time throughout the entire run. He produced further gold splits on mission 1, 9, 10 and 23 before succeeding once again.
My stomach. Yeah, spent a bit of extra time making sure it's center. Let's go in a good place. That's it. It's a new record. Yeah. There it is. A new world record. I don't know how to feel. It's like so up and down in a few places.
It may have been only a difference of just 2 minutes, but it was yet another world record time. Now I have to be honest here and interject my original writing because I wrote the script for this video back in November 2021, and since then Candyman has actually returned to this speedrun category and brought the world record down further, producing the game's first sub 1 hour 30 minute speedrun.
No, don't say it. Don't say it yet. But yep, that's good. And there it is. Did it. 127. Ah. Now yes, hey.
1 hour, 27 minutes and 37 seconds. That is where the world record for the any percent glitchless category currently sits today. Even now, new strategies are being developed by the community. My favourite has to be the use of the mine jump on mission 6, whereby placing a mine on the ground and then standing on it in order to gain extra height when attempting to jump across the minefield. It just boggles my mind. Physically using that asset to jump across the mines. Like, what are these guys going to come up with next, right? Candyman simply sits above the rest. He reigns supreme, but you know he didn't stop there. After the success of the any percent normal mode run, he also managed to produce the very first world records for the any percent hard mode category, and perhaps more impressively, new world record times for the 100% category, with a final time of 2 hours, 5 minutes and 16 seconds. And that's not even including all the individual mission world records. At current count, Candyman holds the world records for 15 of the 25 missions in the single player campaign. That includes missions 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 24. It's a truly epic feat, and one that I imagine will remain unmatched for a long time to come. The any% glitchless Hogs of War speedrun has gone through so many changes over the course of the last 4 years. Each era, from the humble beginnings right through to Candyman's dominance, has seen some new and existing strategies introduced and expanded upon by each runner that has been involved. Since Stannis' very first 4-hour 12-minute run, the world record time has been dropped down by 2 hours and 41 minutes, and every single speedrunner involved in this category has contributed in some way, shape or form to the tactics and strategies that are available today. Early runners like Stannis, Crumble and Shrio007 had almost halved the world record time before Caster even proceeded to dominate the scene. It was Caster who then laid most of the foundation for future runners to build from, not just in the earlier years but later on in 2021 as well. ADB's resurrection of this speedrun helped to bleed new life into this category and in many ways dragged it kicking and screaming into the present day. Caster's return may have seemed short-lived after Candyman's later dominance across the board, but all in all of these runners, they help to influence and motivate new players to get involved and try their hands at speedrunning, myself included. The Hogs speedrunning scene is thriving, the community has rallied behind it, and from here it can only continue to grow from strength to strength. Community speedrunning events like the Hogs of War Grand Prix has seen other players from around the world like Herpdub, Nez, Angurio, Lefront, Hodge, Pumpkin and Busy Guy get involved in the mayhem that is Hogs of War speedrunning. As for the any% glitchless category, the main question that will be in everyone's mind going forward is how much further can the world record be taken down, and by who? Will Candyman remain at the top forever? Will a new player emerge once again to claim it? The future holds a lot of potential for Hogs of War speedrunning, and I hope you can join me for everything it has in store for us. There are still many stories to be told here, and I'm just excited to bring you all the latest that the speedrunning community has to offer for Hogs of War. In the meantime, legends, let me know everything you have to say about the history of Hogs of War's most popular speedrun in the comments. I know there's a ton of details that I may have missed in this video in regards to strategies in levels and all sorts of things. There's a ton that can be broken down, but you'll also find a bunch of stuff in the description in regards to level guides and people that can help you. Come and join the Discord, get involved in the speedrunning community. It's a great place to be, and there are a ton of people that can help you out if you want to get started. So yeah, that is everything. Hope you guys enjoyed, and in the meantime, I will catch you all later for the next one. Peace out, everybody.